Bears waited until the 7th round to draft a running back. Does that mean it's Nick Chubb time in Chicago?
And the Bears aren't actually going to move their stud right tackle to left tackle, are they?
And is there beef brewing between Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson? That and more on this episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Huddle up! Huddle up, Bears fans. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. And tonight with me, Bob Weiss and Justin Oniemi. How you guys doing?
Doing very well.
Yeah, huddle up. Happy to be here. Another exciting news and noise coming up for you guys today.
Yeah, some new graphics. Thanks, Bob, for that.
Should be fun.
I feel like I'm on PTI.
Kind of the idea.
Are you Bob?
Am I allowed to say that?
I don't think we're going to get sued. I hope not.
All right.
But yeah, anyway, so lots of stuff coming out after the draft. Lots of stuff to talk about. Figured this news and noise format was the right way to go about it. So just going up first, let's start with the first pick of last year's draft, Mr. Caleb Williams. News or noise, gentlemen? With the additions made to the coaching staff and offensive personnel, Caleb Williams has no excuses and must produce at an MVP level in 2025. Rob, or Justin, you go first.
All right. Well, I am going to firmly say that this is noise. And as part of the Bears podcast community, we are part of the problem. You know, we create this kind of noise. But as far as I'm concerned, Caleb Williams is who this question is about. But I'm talking Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, everyone on this team needs to shut out noise like that. You are just coming together as an organization now in a new direction. And your focus should not be on can Caleb Williams or is he going to be an MVP this year? None of that's going to happen unless you go back to the basics. You shut all that stuff out. You focus on what you need to do, which is building this offense. And I love that he talks about EPA, but to really thrive in that area, that is focused and locked in on each play, making each play the best it can be. And if they do that, then the accolades will follow. But to put this unnecessary weight and pressure on him, I mean, he had a pretty decent rookie year, and my expectation is he'll exceed what he did there. But if he does it and winning comes, then we can have the conversation about MVP. But at this point, that's just useless noise. Shouldn't even be focused on that.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to divide this into two parts. The first part of this is news. The back part of this is noise. So the first part, let's look at it the first part, right? So with the additions of this new coaching staff, the players that have been added specifically on the offensive line, Caleb Williams has no excuses and must produce. That said, I don't agree that he needs to play at an MVP level. I think you can be a top 10 quarterback and not actually be in the MVP running, right? So if he is improving upon his efficiency stats, things that he was struggling with last year, his down the field throws, I think he was like 35% completion percentage. So like those types of things I want to see improve. No more excuses. I don't want to see balls sailing consistently over guys' heads. I want to see consistent playmaking things happen. And I trust that Ben Johnson is going to put him in position to succeed. I want to see him take less sacks, mainly because I trust that the offensive line is going to be that much improved. Again, the MVP stuff, no, he's a second-year player. I don't expect him to be in the MVP running. If he is, that's fantastic. That's great. I don't care about that. Like Justin said, those accolades will come, improve from year one to year two. That's the biggest jump that a quarterback needs to take is from year one to year two. We need to see that happen in Chicago. All right, I'm ready to move on. All right, news or noise, guys. Ben Johnson's biggest challenge will be managing the egos of all his weapons while spreading the ball around on offense. We're going to throw it to Bob first.
This is absolutely news. One thing I've maintained this whole time about Ben Johnson being a first-time head coach is there's going to be challenges that he just hasn't dealt with before. And right off the bat, You have just all these weapons, one of whom DJ Moore clearly had some, let's just say, attitude issues last year. Whatever you want to say, it was struggling with having real expectations of success for the first time and failing to meet those. Or maybe he didn't like Keenan Allen. Maybe he didn't like Caleb. Maybe he hated his coaches. I don't know what it was, but DJ Moore did not meet those expectations last year. And now you're bringing in another new receiver, Luther Burden, who's got some issues of his own, to bring into that same exact wide receiver room as him. Dr. Truth in our last video had a great comment breakdown about all the things he's worried about with Luther Burden coming in. And you're putting all of that burden for, pun intended there, on the shoulders of a brand new coach. Like, I trust Ben Johnson a lot to design offenses, but how much are you trusting him to manage those egos? And how much are you really trusting Antoine Randall to come in and manage that, right? He gets a lot of credit for what he did with Jameson Williams in Detroit, but it took Jameson Williams 3 years to be productive, right? Is that really what we're expecting out of Luther Burden? 3 years to get his head in order, right? And then Cole Kmet's kind of the other one there. This is going to be the first time in Cole's career that he's kind of had to look over his shoulder. So how is he going to respond there? Is he going to respond positively or not? Now, I got a lot more faith in the character of Cole Kmet and things like that, but how is he going to deal with that? How is he going to deal with, let's just say things go a certain way, Clear Loveland is the man, and then now maybe there's some trade rumors coming up for Cole Kmet. Like, how is he going to handle that? So it's a lot to put on a first-year head coach, and absolutely that will be his biggest challenge. More than a productive offense with all these weapons, it's going to be managing the egos in that room.
Wow. I always love following Bob. I do see the lure in going the way you went, but I'm going to say noise. And I'm going to cite a lot of the same things you did, though. We talked about how you don't just bring in Ben Johnson because he's an offensive guru. That's what, that's the lazy analysis that kind of the national story is. He has to prove that he can be, and I don't love the expression, a leader of men. Now, part of that will be managing egos. But before that, an even bigger part will be to establish the norms, establish the expectations. And if he can do that in a very, very solid way, then perhaps it lessens the issues that could come. Because, DJ Moore is a great example, as is Cole Kmet. They were both here for the 10-game losing streak right after the season where you had a 7-game losing streak. They were in a totally different coaching staff that clearly was in over their heads. And that's when you saw what you saw. But from what we hear Ben Johnson say, and again, it's just words, these are just press conferences, he's about accountability. He's about establishing what it means to be on this team. You hear a few quotes that make you think like, okay, this dude's serious and he wants people to know you got to do it our way. If he can establish that, then I hope the problems that we're anticipating, I guess you could say, hopefully those don't arise. Now, will they? Most likely, yes. 53 men on a roster. You actually might have some competition, which is a good thing, but it can be a double-edged sword if it's taken the wrong way and egos do start to come. But at this point, I'm going to say noise. I'm confident, blindly confident that he will establish good norms and expectations, and we'll not get to those types of issues. All right. News or noise? I'm going to send this to you, Rob, first. Despite drafting a running back in the 7th round, the Bears still need to add a running back to their running back room.
I'm going with noise. Here's the reason why. The rumor is obviously out there. The big one is Nick Chubb, right? Bob and I talked about this on the Chicago Sports Bums podcast on Monday night. He's jumping over hurdles, right? He's lifting, I think, over 400 pounds. They're squatting over 400 pounds. But look, he is not the same player. He's hitting his 29-year age, which is, 29, 30 is when that running back usually just dives down in production. And he's coming off of a horrible, horrible injury that he's still trying to recover from. I don't think he's the answer. I really don't. I know there's rumors out there that started with some guy in Ohio on some sports talk radio show. I don't even know who it was or what station it was, but shout out to them for starting it, saying that there's rumors that he's going to be signing with someone with the NFC North. Now everyone's just thinking Bears. Personally, if you're going to go after a running back that's available who is often injured, I would rather them go after, and now I'm blanking on the running back's name. J.K. Dobbins. Thank you. I almost said DJ Gibbons, which is
you knew there were letters in there.
Is the rookie running back who just got drafted. J.K. Dobbins, yes, who is only 26. I'd much rather see him coming here. He's coming off of a somewhat productive season of almost 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. So that to me would be the ideal player if you're going to go after one of those older veterans. But I don't want to either. I don't think they need either of them. I think the fact that they drafted a running back who comes in and pretty much is a David Montgomery clone. We talked about that before. Like his 40 time is slightly faster. He had the same amount of production as far as yards go. He was slightly better in yards per carry, same amount of touchdowns. His blocking, if you haven't seen it, there is a blocking video out there, a highlight reel video of him blocking within the Big Ten. That is fantastic for this team because Roschon Johnson was supposed to be that guy. He's often hurt. I think he could replace Roschon Johnson if he doesn't prove that the concussions isn't a continuous problem. So to me, I think it's actually one of those things where like Ian Wheeler is probably the odd man out. Again, I feel bad for the guy. I loved what he did last preseason, but look, he's very intelligent. He can go be a doctor, like he said. I think Travis Homer could be on the practice squad again and then only have to come in if they need him. Maybe for special teams if they decide to keep 4. I just don't see one of those veterans being an option.
Yeah, so I'm going news. I do think you need another horse in that stable. We saw what this running back group did last year. Now, obviously, very different offensive line, very different offensive scheme. But I'm just not certain that the quality of carries, the quality volume of carries is there with this group. You got Roschon Johnson, who we like on a per carry basis, but are we really depending on him for a 17-game schedule? I think the answer is no. DeAndre Swift is a guy I like. I like in his role. I want him to get 12 to 15 touches, whether those are carries or catches out of the backfield. I don't care, but those are not early down carries. And now you have a 7th-round pick who maybe easily could have been a 5th or 6th-round pick, maybe, but that's not really a guy that you should be depending on, right? So you have 3 kind of fine options, and I would just like to get a 4th in there. Now, I do not believe Nick Chubb is the answer who's just going to sign and get 1,300 yards, but is he a guy who can come in and give you 8 to 12 dependable carries for 40 yards? And again, maybe. So depending on his contract demands, I wouldn't mind it being Nick Chubb. J.K. Dobbins is interesting. He was healthy last year, but what are the team that just he came on and did best year of his career? They just kind of let him go. What's going on there, right? So I just don't really know exactly where the answer is. I heard another rumor, not rumor, but some speculation that, now that the Patriots just drafted Travion Henderson, maybe Ramondre Stevenson's on the trading block. So there might be other ways to get it, but I would really love to see one more running back get added to that room.
I know. Real quick. I know I said it felt like PTI. I wish I was around the horn. I want to give you.
I was going to say, I was feeling that way too. You got to get the buttons.
You had me, man.
Work on that. Those are much trickier graphics.
Baby steps.
But if that's the case, we just need one of us to host.
Score us in the chat, guys.
Hey, I would love to ref you guys. I would ref you guys all day. That'd be fine.
Score us in the comment section.
All right. If you are listening, we need you to hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit those comment buttons, just like Justin and Bob were saying. We know 50% of you have been watching our videos consistently over the last month or two, right? But still aren't subscribed. Why? Okay, next week we have a special guest coming on the show. Next month we're going to be planning a giveaway that we're going to be announcing. These are things that you do not want to miss, especially during this downtime in the NFL offseason, right? So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. It's super easy. Just click the button, hit the bell so you get those notifications. It's not that hard, right? It helps promote our channel. We really appreciate it. We're trying to build that community. So again, do all that. Hit the comment section. We love the comment section. Also, real quick, I do want to add, if you are listening to this on an audio podcast version, I want you to go to our YouTube channel and I want you to hit subscribe. Look, you can listen to our YouTube channel without actually watching. I do it at work all the time. Our audio version is probably going to be going away. Okay. It's just not worth it for us to continuously put it on both platforms. please come to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and listen to us continuously over there as well. We appreciate it. Thank you again for your support.
Absolutely. For all you guys watching this video, make sure you're commenting below. We would love to hear your takes too. We love hearing ourselves talk. Don't get us wrong, but we want to hear what you think too. Okay. All right. So now probably like the hottest topic I feel like everyone's talking about coming out of this draft is what is going on at right and left tackle. So news or noise, the Bears should move Darnell Wright to left tackle in order to make room for Ozzie Tripolo at right tackle. Justin, you're up.
All right, Bob, this is noise for a couple reasons. Okay. First of all, Ozzie Tripolo, we don't know what he's capable of doing. It's too early to know. He showed some versatility in college. I know Rob has mentioned several times that he performed a lot better at right tackle than left tackle. Well, let's get him in here and see. But the real reason it's noise is you have Braxton Jones as your left tackle. Now, he's coming off an injury, but we're acting like Braxton Jones is this guy that you must replace. Whereas, as I said in a previous episode, last year, he was probably your second best lineman. Bob, you told me that that's not that impressive of a level to reach. But if he's healthy, which we do not know, but if he can show he's healthy, that's still a position I feel pretty confident of him holding down, especially when you've upgraded across the line everywhere else. Now, to rush and move Darnell Wright to left tackle, you think you're solving a problem, you very well could be creating a new problem. Let Darnell Wright be where he is. Let Braxton Jones be where he is, unless one of these younger players, whether that's Tripolo, whether that's Karan Amagaji, if they push him enough and they show they're worthy, then you've solved the problem before creating a new problem. So I say this is noise. Down the line, if it becomes evident that a change is needed, then you say, all right, we trust you, Darnell. We're going to have to make this move. But to do it prematurely, you might be creating an issue that's not even there.
So typically going second, I would just automatically try to be the opposite of Justin to keep that around the horn field going. But I think I've spoken out too much about the situation already that people would just call me and just say, Rob, you're just spewing bullshit. So I will just kind of play it a little bit differently here. The reason that Darnell Wright needs to stay on the right side is for one simple reason. His last name, Wright. It literally has it right there in his name. He should be on the right side. He has been playing at an all-pro level. He's been playing at a Pro Bowl level. I don't care if he's not getting those accolades. Pro Bowl is just a freaking popularity contest anyway. The guy deserves to stay where he is. I've talked about it before. Kyle Long, Tevin Jenkins. We've seen these guys move around, and it just constantly just ruins their career. I don't want to see the same thing happen here in Chicago. Justin laid it out perfectly. Braxton Jones is a adequate left tackle. He just really is. And you have Kyron Amagaji who can come in and also compete. Now you got Tripolo who can come in and compete as well. Personally, I think he's probably just going to end up being your backup. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having a really good backup offensive tackle. I said it, I believe, on our podcast. Maybe it was on the Sports Bums, but I believe, if the number is correct, at 27 different offensive line combinations last year. I don't care if he's playing on the right or left to start the year or not playing at all. He's probably going to see the field because someone's going to get hurt. And then if he is proven to be your best lineman, whether it's on the interior, which I think he can do, whether it's on the outside, which I think he can do, he's there. He's there. It's going to be very impressive to actually have offensive line depth in Chicago, something that we have not seen, probably since maybe the Lovie Smith era.
Even then, I don't know. It was really just a top five.
I mean, I'm just trying to think. Like, you got Roberto Garza and Olin Kreutz. I mean, that's probably the last time I can recall that there was like one guy would go down and it just didn't seem to impact the line. So if that's all we get from this guy to start his career, perfectly okay with it. All right, let's move on. I'll be throwing this to you first, Bob, so be ready. The Bears not drafting an edge rusher should be interpreted as a vote of confidence for both Austin Booker and Dominique Robinson.
So I'm actually going to go noise here. All right. I was very critical of the Bears in the draft for not grabbing an edge, even in that 4th round, which might have been a low ceiling, high floor type of guy, a boring guy, but still competition for these guys. Now, it's very possible the Bears do like their depth. Don't forget Daniel Hardy actually is probably in this group as well, right? Hardy, Dom, Robin, Booker. But I still just want one more guy. And, maybe obviously the Bears strategy, as we went over and over again in a couple of different places, was to take swings on high ceiling guys in the late round, as opposed to traditional best available, maybe boring high floor guys. So maybe their plan is to find just these boring floor guys in veteran free agency. There's still 3rd wave of free agency coming up. And we're talking about guys like Nick Chubb and running back. Maybe there's similar guys out there in defensive ends. The list I'm looking at, maybe the top guy is bringing our friend DeMarcus Walker back. I don't know, but that's kind of maybe where they go here to bring some more competition in that room. Now you bring in a near league minimum veteran, and then Dom Rob does step up in camp. He does look better with a different defensive line strategy. Austin Booker looks like he's ready to take that next step, and maybe just say, hey, goodbye, Mr. Veteran. Thanks for hanging out with us in August. But I need to see something else. And I think that them not drafting a defensive end more had to do with lining up value in their board than them just saying, yes, we already got the guys we want.
So once again, I'm not sure I'm that different than you in what I'm going to say, but I'm going to go news on this. They certainly had opportunities to take an edge in the draft. Watch our draft episode if you want to hear more about that. But whether it's confidence in the 2 particular people that are mentioned in this question, Booker and Robinson, or whether it's confidence in the versatility of many of the other people that are in that defensive line room, I do think that they felt okay at the position. Now, I should have done a little bit more homework. I apologize. But I do believe they have 2 undrafted free agents that are edges. And one of them, I wish I had his name pulled up, had some good production in college and has the Dennis Allen body type. So could there be like a Jack Sanborn of the defensive line that actually comes in and helps push a guy like Dominique Robinson, or hopefully not Austin Booker? I hope he's a little higher on the pecking order than that. But I don't think they're going to go out and get like another big time name or anything like that. Your Yannick Ngakoue. How did that work out? But anyway, I don't see that coming. And so I think that just has to mean they're confident with what they got, or they plan on addressing it next year. So I'm going to go news.
Real quick, before we transition, I just want to say one thing. So something that I didn't do when I was watching film with Shamar Turner is I didn't watch any of his 2023 film. And I went back and watched it after I heard from, Trevor Sikkema, and I'm blanking on Connor something from the PFF show. And I went back and looked, and I watched this film, and I looked at see how not only where his tape was, but where he played on the defensive line. His 2023 film was even better than his 2024 film. And he had 261 snaps outside the tackle at the end position. So they kind of did draft the defensive end in this draft who can also, Justin said versatility. And I feel like maybe they feel like he's kind of both. I don't know.
I think I heard he's only one of 5 players that had over 200 snaps at like every position on the D line. So certainly there's versatility. I don't know with body types, weight, lose weight, put on weight, what that all means, but let's get creative. Let's have some fun with Dennis Allen and just bring everybody, bring them from all different angles. All right. I know it's tough to do a show like this and not mention a rivalry with the Packers. So let's do it. News or noise, the Packers-Bears rivalry is about to get real once again. I don't know when it last was, to be honest. As Matt LaFleur speaks up about Ben Johnson's first presser as Bears head coach. Rob, this is coming your way first.
Ben Johnson said it as soon as he got here, right? I was his introductory press conference. I loved beating Matt LaFleur 2 times a year. I loved it. Look, Matt LaFleur came out and was like, I don't even know Ben Johnson. Like, why is he throwing shade at me? Is there beef here between Chicago and Green Bay? He didn't really say yes. I think partly because they've been the big brother for probably our whole entire lifetime out of the maybe small little portion of Lovie Smith era that we can talk about again. The rivalry is back. I don't even care what happens on the field. These guys are like going to go at it on the field. These guys are going to meet in the middle. They're not going to shake hands. They're going to shove each other. That's what's going to happen. That's what I want to see. Bears beat up on the Cheeseheads. I want it. I want it so bad. So, if you were a Bears fan, you should be excited about what Ben Johnson is bringing. He's bringing discipline. He's bringing accountability, right? We're hearing it everywhere. And I know these are just press conferences, but if he's talking about it to the media, that means he's talking about it behind the scenes. Will these guys buy in? Maybe not in year one. Maybe you got to get rid of the guys who are like, F that. I'm not playing hard for you, coach. I'm not blocking to get the rock. Guess what? Get the fuck out of town, because this is the new Chicago Bears right now, right here. Let's see it. Super Bowl bound, baby. Super Bowl.
They just filled their last roster spot, but I think you should be the UDFA.
That's right.
Was that
I'm not sure, Rob. Were you going news or noise?
I forgot to even say it. It's news. News.
Yeah, we inferred
noise because the rivalry isn't even getting going again because the Bears are going to dominate it now. It's going to be blowout after blowout after blowout. No, I'm actually just joking.
I should have said that though.
Noise, but for a much more reasonable answer. Like, look, show me first. All right. The Bears have to show up and win a meaningful game against the Packers first. I'm sorry, week 18 last year was not a meaningful game. The Packers were already in the playoffs. They played a, backup quarterback for 3/4 of the game, and they barely won. It is not a meaningful win. When the Bears start getting meaningful wins in this rivalry while the Packers are good, then we can talk about the rivalry being back. But the coaches talking to the media, that's fun. It's absolutely fun. Seeing Rob get fired up, that's fun. It's absolutely fun. But the rivalry is not back until there's some winning on both sides.
Now, wait a minute. LaFleur says, I don't know Ben Johnson. I think that explains why he was 0-2 then. You need to know Ben Johnson when he was the offensive coordinator doing serious things across the league and running up and down all over everybody, but including the Packers. So let's hope he gets to know him this year.
Yeah, I think they'll become hopefully quick enemies.
But I just don't think we're going to see them sitting side by side at a basketball game with their fresh fades.
LaFleur certainly seemed annoyed with having to respond to comments about a guy doesn't even know, talking about him in a press conference. So hopefully it's fun. I want it to be fun, but hey, let's see it first.
Fun like this show.
That's right. The show was a lot of fun. I hope everyone enjoyed following along with us. Had a good time. Rob, you got anything?
Again, I just want the rivalry. I want the Bears to be a winning football team. I think everyone does. I know I was being a little dramatic, but look, that's what I want. I hope everyone has the same passion about this team. We got a long way before we actually play football, but the Bears are undefeated in 2025. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. As soon as Caleb Williams throws an incompletion in preseason, I expect everyone to scream, oh my God, it's the end of the world, because that's just what we do as Bears fans. But let's just make this happen. I got nothing else.
I got two more things. They're very brief. Rob, what's your arm length, and what position should I be telling Ryan Poles he should be looking to try you out?
I've never measured. Let's actually do a measuring. We should do that. For this.
Right.
So we talk about yours so much.
Ryan Poles, give my boy a call. He's ready to run through walls. Let's go.
There we go. All right, Hal. Make sure you hit that like button, comment below, subscribe if you're not. Otherwise, bear down, claws up.